Good afternoon, everyone. It's Hogmanay, Rangers Four Lads podcast. We've got the big squad out with us. Everybody's happy. Everyone's in a good mood. I wonder why we're all in a good mood. Gentlemen, is everybody well? That's the thing. Andrew, how are you? You good?
I'm well, Stevie. It's been a while since we've been on a pod together. So, yeah, it's nice to see you, just in general. But, yeah, I'm in a good mood. I'm happy. Ending the year on a high. Feeling good.
Yeah, Rob, you're wearing a sensational hoodie, a bit like myself. We're like page one out of the Four Lads had a dream catalogue. How are you, mate? You well?
I'm great. I'm on with three of my favourite podders, just to coin somebody else's phrase. But a big thank you to Amrit for sorting me out with my hoodie. So yeah, I'm good, mate. It's always nice to finish the year off with a Rangers victory.
Yeah, it really was. It was a night where Amrit, despite his vlog, I don't even know what to say about the first 30 seconds of the vlog. If you haven't seen it, you'll see it. But Amrit did have his cherry popped, so to speak. Amrit, match day vlog. Do you know what, ladies and gentlemen? If you haven't seen the match day vlog from last night, go and watch it, because genuinely it was brilliant to see somebody love it as much as Amrit did last night. How did you enjoy the experience, mate?
Oh, mate, it was just incredible. I know I thanked you yesterday, Stevie, but just in front of Rob and Andrew and all our viewers and members and people who watch and support the channel, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting me involved in Four Lads and opening these doors of interest in my life. I've met some great people, made some great connections and friends, and all the members and team have made me feel so welcome, and I'm just eternally grateful, Stevie. So thank you most sincerely for that. That's your good deed of the year done. So I'm looking forward to what you're going to do for me in 2026.
Absolutely nothing, mate. So don't get used to it.
You peaked too early.
Aye, it's been said before. But moving swiftly on very quickly, my very good friend Gary Howden's in the comments. Me and Gary grew up together. As you know, Gary lives out in the States now with a beautiful family he's got, and he will tell you, and he will thoroughly agree and not even deny it, that the reason Amrit is, of course, here is because he brings sweeties on a match day, and he produced the goods last night for a sensational evening we had, and it was genuinely good fun. Right, I'm going to take this off now. I just wanted to show you that we have some merch, and it's quite nice. Amrit bought us all these, genuinely. Amrit bought us the hoodies, which we have. All sorts of stuff he got us for Four Lads stuff. So he's some boy, honest to God. I'm still trying to persuade him to get Four Lads ice cream. My idea is raspberry ripple, and then kind of blue, something blue. Could have like red, white, and blue. Put wee fours on it, and that would be, honestly, it'd be unreal. Be unreal. Anyway, let's stop talking nonsense. Rangers beat St Mirren last night. It's the first time I've been at a game for a very long time and heard the crowd erupt when things were happening at other stadiums. Gave me a wee tingle that I've really missed. It was good. The atmosphere was good last night. Rob, Andrew, and Amrit, obviously, and myself gave our opinions on various kind of shows last night. But what was your thoughts? You were in hospitality, bigwigging with the players and all sorts of nonsense, mate. So tell us how your night was.
It was great. I need to give a big shout out to my mate Davey Richardson for continually sorting me out with those hospitality seats. It's always much appreciated. But it was a great night, to be honest, mate. And I think for the first time in a while, it was almost comfortable until the 75th minute, and we'll no doubt talk about it. But it was good to hear. It was good to hear the crowd a bit livelier, and it was just one of the more enjoyable games that we've had. You know, I actually thought, looking back at the game, we played some decent football at times, and it's the one criticism that we've had of Danny's team since he took over is that, yep, he had to come in and get the defence sorted, and he's done that, but we wanted to see more going forward. And I think, you know, Chermiti, he's got his limitations, but you noticed the difference when he was off the pitch compared to when he was on it. You know, we had a focal point when he was there. He was able to hold the ball up pretty well and bring other teammates into it. And when he left the pitch, we noticed that difference. But it was really good to see singing in the stands, a decent performance on the pitch, getting the 3 points, which is the most important thing. And unfortunately, it's kind of what Rangers do, is it they make us almost start believing again. And ultimately, that's kind of where we are. I think at the moment is that we wanted a bit of hope Danny's done a brilliant job since he's come in, and it's now up to the players, because Saturday is a critical moment for this squad of players, and hopefully we might get a nice little New Year's Day signing for us all to kind of look after tomorrow. But we'll see. So it was a great night all round.
What hospitality were you on? So tell us that.
So yeah, he's in box number 7. He owns. So there's a few companies that he's got going across Ibrox, Pipeline Energy and stuff, but it's box number 7 that we're in.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on a minute. Your mate owns companies. We've clearly got room for more sponsors. Like, see, I want to get it all the way round and everything else. Like, you're telling me that your mate's with the guy that runs Pipeline and everything else, and you haven't told him to sponsor us, Rob?
It's all about timing, Stevie. New year, new, we'll see. We'll have a chat.
When we win on Saturday, text him on Saturday night, right? Obviously, this is going to be good. Right, folks, let's move on, talk about St Mirren last night. It was a harder victory than Motherwell in a weird way, Andrew, because we were on the front foot as such for the first 15-20, and then St Mirren kind of came back into it, and then Rangers were really strong. Those that have seen the matchday vlog would have seen me and Amrit actually call the goal coming. We felt it was. That spate of wee corners, me and Amrit were like, we're going to score here. So we went live just to see if we would, and we did. And it was just, I thought it was another good performance. I don't think people realise, I think people think Motherwell and St Mirren and they think about the badge and the name. I don't think they realise how good these sides are, and people are going to laugh and say St Mirren are 10th. St Mirren are a really good side, and I think Motherwell are a fantastic side. Now, Motherwell and St Mirren in recent weeks have beaten Celtic quite convincingly, both of them. And Motherwell played Celtic off the park last night, and we created 28 opportunities against Motherwell. So I think we need to recognise where we are in our performances, Andrew, because we are very down on this team, right? And I think that's fair to say. We are very down on this team, and we are down on it for a reason. But Danny's not got them playing outstanding. He's not got them playing, mythically well and everything else, but he's got them doing really well, and I think he deserves a lot of credit, which we'll come on to. But again, to reiterate, to pick up 6 against Motherwell and St Mirren is expected. I get it, but it's 2 very good results and 2 very good performances for me.
I mean, we can say it was expected, but we expected to be out of sight with the run of fixtures that we had at the very start of the season. And we quickly proved with this same squad of players that you can't just take what's expected for granted. We've seen how badly this team can underperform. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you can level any criticism at Danny Rohl. We didn't really go in for it when he wasn't getting results, because we recognise the level that this squad is at. We don't think it's good enough. But one thing you can say is that Danny Rohl has got this squad playing above where they were. He's got the defence really tightened up. It's clear that that's been the focus, given our recent defensive record and where we sit now in the league in terms of that defensive record, best in the league or joint best in the league right now. And the fact that we've started picking up these wins, started getting points where we would have dropped them either in draws or indeed in losses, has been really good to see. And the fact that we're seeing some players who we thought were completely out of the picture in Chermiti and in Asgard, they're both players now who, you're starting to see a little bit more from, who you're starting to expect a little bit more from. And that's all positive for me. I don't think anyone's under any illusions that, we're world beaters or anything like that. But we don't need to be world beaters. We just need to be better than the rest of the teams in the league. And given how this season's gone so far this year, with the 2 teams who are currently above us not exactly going on glittering runs themselves, I think it's fair to say that it's not all cut and dusted. Yeah.
I just want to say thanks for everybody. We're sitting 4 o'clock on Hogmanay, and there's thousands watching this. Same faces, Ross, Kimberly, Lyndon, everybody, Jim. So many comments, and everybody. Kelso saying, "Can we talk about Chermiti? We've got. I done the agenda today. Me, honestly. Kenny normally does it. I always leave it to Kenny. Huge thanks to Kimberly as well, who's gifted 10 Four Lads Had a Dream podcast membership. Kimberly, thank you. You'll know why. Really appreciate all your support. Yeah, lots to talk about. This is going to be a fun show. Everybody's feeling, see, it's this wee couple of days of false hope and, you know, excitement, and we're going to do it. You know what I mean? Amrit, I'm coming back to you. I really enjoyed that last night. Not only did I have the pleasure of your company and your show uplifting, it was actually great. You forced me to smile at least twice. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. But what I really enjoyed last night is I think Danny Rohl's great. You've seen it firsthand. I think he's brilliant. And I think what he's doing with this team is coaching them. I don't think we're outstanding. There was a comment here, anyone saying they think Rangers are a good team is delusional. I don't think we're a good team. I think Danny Rohl's doing exceptionally well with what we've got. I think that maybe we're not as bad as we might think if we can have a really good January. And I think we need 4 really key outstanding players. But what I see in Danny Rohl's team is organisation. I see a defence that finally looks like it knows what it's doing. I see a midfield that knows when to press and when not to, but it's still lacking. I see a forward line that looks like it lacks a real killer instinct. But I see a coached team. Now, months ago, I said with that same team to Russell Martin, infamously, this doesn't look coached. Now it does. And we can see that. It doesn't suddenly mean that they're world beaters or anything, but I can see what he's doing. I can see his organisation, and I can see the improvements he's made in that team. And individuals now are starting to show slightly what they're capable of. And we'll talk about Asgard, Chermiti, Fernandez, and everything else in the coming bits. But on last night, again, I thought it was genuinely a really organised, really well performed game. And did we wobble at the end? Yes, we did. We'll talk about that as well. But overall, I can see what he's trying to do, and I really like him. I'm crying out for him to do well.
Yeah, Stevie, I think you're right. I genuinely believe that we've only really scratched the surface of the potential of this squad with the right tools and direction, instruction, inspiration, motivation. With all these kinds of tools, I think the HMS Glasgow Rangers is beginning to turn in the tide and sailing steadfast and true with Captain Danny at the wheel. And it's under his leadership and his vision, I think, because the first thing he did when he came in, Stevie, he looked at that. Any manager worth his salt looked at that squad and thought, I've got my work cut out. And he knew that. And he knew that he'd have to wait to January to get some reinforcements in. But he's looked at it on evidence and thought, what can I do? How can I affect this team? How can I make it better? Well, first of all, like you said, let's get them organised. Let's get them drilled. Let's get them coached. Give them clear rules, responsibilities, autonomy, where they need to be, what they need to do, how they need to play, and get these disciplines and habits instilled within these players. And he's done that. And you can see that every single week. Even when we've lost, you can still see a shape and a structure to this team, and that comes from good, high-quality coaching, which is exactly what Danny Rohl's done. And he has absolutely exceeded all expectations at this point in the season for us. He has turned this around like nobody would have believed even possible. And now we move into January with some positivity, and I'm with you. I think 3 or maybe 4 high-quality signings in the right area, and that will hopefully encourage the rest of the players to lift their level as well and build on that momentum that we've created in the last sort of 6 weeks or so, and going into Saturday full of confidence, because Celtic won't be. Let's be honest. We're in our ascension while they're in their decline right now. They will be licking their wounds. They will be hurting. And we're going to Parkhead full of confidence. And I think that the wind is certainly in our sails just now. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, look, I think that's right. But at the same time, until this team wins a big game and wins a sliding door moment, I'm more than willing to be the grumpy guy here and temper it slightly and just say we need to wait and see about that. Am I hugely confident? We'll discuss all that in a bit. Andrew, 2 goals from set pieces last night. Really important. Now, for those eagle-eyed people, and there will be quite a few of you watching at the weekend, you would have seen that corner kick happen. Tav went short. Tav then ran round and whipped it in from the enclosure side. And it was Fernandez who got the header and put it straight at the Motherwell keeper. Last night, it was Mike Holma who done it, who after putting in a really good ball, we get another corner. He then does the short 1-2 with Tav, runs round, and it's just that ball where it's into that area where the goalie can't come, and a lovely header from Asgard, and probably at the right time, Rangers then nearly get a second straight after it. But it was probably, I would say it was probably worthy at that point. I don't remember Jack having any big saves in the first half. Somebody might be able to tell me if I'm wrong. I know he had a number in the second half of really good saves, but in the first I don't think he had. So I think at that point, going in at 1-0, Rangers were worthy of it, Andrew.
Definitely. I think we know that we need to exploit different areas of the pitch because our strikers have not been up to scratch. Just a fact, unfortunately. But what we have seen is the manager's pragmatism in trying to optimize those things like the set pieces. We've been very effective with it, not just last night, but in games prior to that as well. Big Fernandez is like a cheat code because he's even taller than I am. He's phenomenal, and Asgard's not exactly a shorty either. So you're seeing where we're trying to make gains where we can. Because again, we're working with the squad we've got. We had to get through this January. We've now done that, and I think we've done better, than we could have hoped realistically with where we were. And I think we were well worthy of being 2-0 up. Indeed 1-0 up at the time that we were, because we did dominate that game. We knew that St Mirren would come into it because we are not yet good enough to impose ourselves fully on the opposition and control the game start to finish. I don't think with this squad of players we can really expect that to be the case. But what we have seen is that we have been good in the moments where we can attack, and we have been good in the moments where we can defend. Overall, I'm not saying it's a flawless thing. Clearly, it's not a flawless thing. Otherwise, we'd have more clean sheets. But what we have seen is that we are exploiting those bits, and we are getting the wins, and we're getting those points where we just wouldn't have got those earlier in the season. That is down to coaching, as someone said.
Yeah, I firmly believe that, Rob, that we do look better set up. And listen, I'll say it again. I really like Danny Rohl. I wasn't sure on him coming in. I just want Rangers to win. I want Rangers to win games. And I really like him. I really want him to do well. Can he take the next step is the thing. Can he go from pragmatic wins to turning the flare on and things? We need to find out about that. I think that's long term for Danny Rohl. I think he needs to keep winning at this moment in time, Rob. But Rangers don't make it 3, and then it becomes nervous, like we talked about that last 15 minutes. Now, I understand what Danny was doing. We need to change it up. We need to rest players. We need to try and rotate a bit so Big Soapy comes off. I thought John Souttar, who I'm going to nickname Manjaro John, because he's lost a shed load of weight, by the way, and it definitely looks like, I genuinely think he's lost a good stone or so, Souttar. I mean, maybe it's just me, folks, let me know in the comments if that's right or not, but I genuinely thought he looked very slimmed down last night. I thought he looked sharp. He had 3 or 4 excellent interceptions in the first half alone, which probably stopped St Mirren from doing anything. And I thought he was great throughout. Now, here's the stickler. He had to come off, understand that. So Nsiala comes on. Nsiala, for me, is a really good player on the deck. See, in the air, Nsiala's not for Scottish football in the slightest. You've seen the goal where he gets dominated. He doesn't even jump, and it leads to what happens. I'm not blaming him. I just don't think I think he's cultured. I don't think he's aggressive like we need. And I think that's possibly why he's not been in before now. And please don't think I'm criticising. It's just a general of how I look at him and how I think. But Jack then in the second half again, some wonderful saves, Rob. He then saves the penalty, which I still don't know what was for him. I'm told it was handball and reliably was. That's fine. Could VAR not be a wee bit clearer? We're checking a penalty in the Rangers goal mouth for an attack for St Mirren, potential handball by Rangers centre half. We don't know anything. Checking VAR for potential penalty. Smashing. Where? So I think, like in a spectator sport, maybe they should be clearer, but I've rabbited on a tangent. Jack Butland, Rob, we concede. St Mirren don't get in after that. We keep them out. We manage the game, which I thought was really impressive. We waste time. We waste the last 5-6 minutes. And sometimes it's the other side of the game you don't see. And I thought that was great. And I really enjoyed that.
It was, but if you've got Manny Fernandez to score anytime, Rangers 3-1 and waiting on 810 quid to return, then you're a bit disappointed that we didn't attack more to try and get that third. But no, I agree, mate. To be honest, I think that I'll probably get slated in the comments here, but the biggest change in the game was actually when Chermiti left the pitch. And that was the problem. I think that we had, when he got taken off.
Bang on, mate.
You know, and when we took him off and we put Danilo on, we lost our focal point of attack. And he'd done a fantastic job last night of winning headers, controlling the ball, chesting it, just giving us a bit of an out ball when we needed it. And his link-up play is getting better. And as we've seen, you know, he might end up doing, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, Joe Linton comes here as a striker and maybe ends up being a winger because the ball he stuck over for Manny Fernandez's goal was an absolute peach. But it was nice. It was nice to see. You're right about Suter. You know, we noticed that, and I think the criticism that we had of the changes was it made us a bit too defensive and too negative. But you could see what he was trying to do, and the problem that we had with some of the subs was that they're just no the quality that you need to come onto the pitch when you're trying to then see out a game, but also still be creative as well. And you know, we can talk about Danny Rohl. To the cows come home. You know, he's done a fantastic job, but he still needs to be given better tools. And that's why this January window is going to be so critical, because I think the majority of our fans want to see quality over quantity, because we know we need experience, we need quality, and we really need work on the spine of the team as well as a potential left back. But you know, it was under previous management. I think I would have been a lot more nervous once St Mirren had scored, because we probably would have collapsed a little bit. At least the players had a bit of belief to be able to snuff out the chances, and were a bit game-wise to it last night, which was good. You know, they did slow the game down. That there was a little bit more fight and harassing of the opposition, which we've all wanted to see. And it's almost like they're starting to believe in what Danny Rohl's trying to get them to do, because they've had a bit more time to work on it. And that's the other big point, is that, you know, we've not had a lot of time as a team with a manager on the training pitch, but he's had that over the last couple of weeks, and he's been able to get his thoughts over to the players, and hopefully as he continues to do that, we'll start to see a bit more of us going forward. But Suter was great. I thought Fernandez had a decent game. It's now going to be critical, because the defence is going to be key on Saturday when we go there. And I think that's the thing that's good to see. We're not giving up as many chances, and some of the midfield players are starting to pick up the work a little bit more as well. You know, Raskin, I thought had a decent game, and Barron when he came on again. You know, I think Danny Rohl mentioned in the Motherwell game he ran like 15k. So we're going to need that again on Saturday when we go to that midden.
Love it, that midden, exactly. We'll get to all that insults and all that soon. But Danny Rohl's post-match, Amrit, you were there with me, asked him on John Suter where he is with his contract. Very positive in where he wants to go with that. It sounds good. There was a smile. He stopped short of saying that he's looking good for a contract renewal. I don't want to lose John Suter for nothing. I think John Suter is still part of this squad. I think a fit and lean John Suter. John Suter needs to do what we all hoped he would do when Goldson left. I think that's fair to say. He wants the club to be on the front foot in the transfer chase, wants to be brave. Was asked, are we going to be ready for the start of January? It was an interesting reaction for him, because he laughed a wee bit and he was very guarded, but he didn't say no, which was interesting as well. And then he said something that I thought was wonderful, and nobody's really said it. He said, we need a strong referee. Didn't have one last night. I think this was a very young and inexperienced. We do need a very strong referee. I think 2010, Kenny Miller scoring, Kirk Broadfoot was the last time Rangers had a penalty at Parkhead, and I think we're now 80 plus since they had the red card. So, you know, there's a lot of things flying about stat-wise. But I thought Rohl, again, was clever. And the stuff about the ref, yeah, he's absolutely right. We do need a strong referee on Saturday, that's for sure. John Suter and transfer stuff, it was all fairly positive.
Yeah, I'd agree, Stevie. I think the John Souttar thing, I'm with you. I don't see John Souttar next season being our first shoe-in starter in the centre of defence if we get our recruitment right. But I think he still has a significant role to play in the team. I think he's still got a very valuable contribution to make. I think he's an experienced head. I think he'll be good for younger players that are coming through as well. And I think just having him in the building would be beneficial to Rangers, and I still think he has a role to play, and he is looking svelte. He's lost about a stone, Stevie. You've found it, so you know that's all good.
Hey, hold on. Stop.
Stevie, I'm baiting you.
You tried to fat shame me last night, and I don't care, and I'll say it again. I have lost 4 stone from the start of the year. 4. I am a very svelte 12 and a bit. And
have you lost weight, Stevie? You've not mentioned it at all.
This was prior to Amrit coming along. I'm not going to be fat shamed on my own pod. Like, honestly, I'm not. I've lost at least 2 chins. I've got 1 more to go. So I have not put on John Souttar's stone, Amrit. You take that back. You're not getting on
looking great. You're looking great, Stevie. That's a medium hoodie as well, so good on you.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So,
lovely.
But yes, the John Souttar thing, yes. I think Danny Rohl, he conducts himself just as a gentleman, doesn't he? He's very measured in what he says. He doesn't mince his words. I like the fact that he's dropped he's planted that seed in the minds of the nation when he's talking about the referees need to be strong. So he recognises that there are some issues around the officiating in our league. Everybody knows it. I like the fact that he's called it out, but he did it in a respectful way. You know, he wasn't pointing fingers and getting all emotionally driven or triggered by it. He was just making his point. So that was nice to see. And as far as the transfers are concerned, Stephen, yeah, you're right. I think it was Chris Jack had asked him, will there be deals done before Saturday? And he gave that cheeky, wry little smile as if to say, I know something you don't. I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to give anything away, and I'm not going to show my hand. But I would not be surprised if we did have someone in before Saturday, Steve. I'd be very excited as well. So let's see what happens. I know you're thinking I'm jinxing it. I'm not. But it could happen, Stephen. If it does, I'll be absolutely delighted. So let's watch this space.
No, I wasn't saying you had said anything. That was just this ferocious abuse that I get in the comments. Andrew, Danny Rohl last night, he said all the right things. I suppose I did like the ref comment because nobody's been strong enough to say stuff like that before. Rob, I'll bring you jump in straight after Andrew as well. It probably is vital that we're linked with players and we get them in as quickly as possible. James Penrice is now at the front foot, led to believe that there's certain interest in there, but do we know how concrete it is? We'll just need to wait and see what happens. I think Ike pretty much played it down. He's played 24, 25 times, so I don't understand why people are saying that this guy hasn't played. So I'm not sure they'd be willing to do it, certainly not for the 2 million odd they paid. Interesting. I don't think you'll hear much from Rangers, and I think then suddenly it'll be like, boom, this guy's here and it's done. There was rumours, and I said this before, that deals were done, ready to come in, and I've not heard anything. It's been watertight. I didn't hear anything about Stiging or Bjorby, and then all of a sudden he was there. But he's bald, so we'll allow that. Andrew, comments last night, and then Rob jump in as well, just on Rohl and what he said.
Yeah, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth when it comes to how quiet Rangers have been, because the Stig dealings. Normally, we hear about it from you like years in advance, but we heard nothing. So yeah, it's good because what it leads me to hope is that we are getting stuff lined up so that we can do our business early doors because we need that. While we've waxed plenty lyrical about what Danny Rohl's done with this squad of players, it is deeply clear that we need reinforcements. We need them in quickly. We need them in a position where they can impact us as well. And you just had to look at the bench last night to know that we need those reinforcements urgently. As much as certain other members of the pod might love Ravi Matondo, he does not feel like a game-changing player to me. It would be good if we had some more of those available on the bench, or indeed players who were starting games as well. So it was very interesting to see Danny Rohl. He's never going to come out and say, lads, we got 4 lined up for New Year's Day. Don't even worry about it. But I think he can be quite coy and hint towards what we hope is coming on and going to happen. We clearly as we said, need reinforcements in this squad. I would love them all to be signed, sealed, and delivered by the 1st, but we know things like that do take time. But I would love to think that we have 1 or 2 surprises in mind before the game on the 2nd. Or the 3rd, sorry.
I think you've got to look at Hearts as an example as well. You know, they've already announced a couple of signings, and I think it demonstrates what you can do to be able to move quick. I guess the fact that I'm taking a bit of confidence in is if you look at what they've done at Leeds, typically a lot of their signings are only kind of sniffed about in the morning that they're announced. So I'd love to wake up tomorrow, midday, we see a little tweet from the Rangers social media accounts announcing a signing, but the reinforcements need to come. They need to be quick because again, you want them to bed in, and it would be great to have additional bodies available for that game at the weekend. But it's on the players now, and ultimately they've got to believe that they can go there and get a result. And regardless of who comes in, they're going to need to take responsibility themselves just now, regardless of what signings we potentially announce before we go to that place to play them, because it's up to them to step up. They're the ones that have let us down in these big games before, and if they can't get up for it after being so far behind in the league, finally getting to within a whisker of both teams above them, the chance to draw level on points by beating them, that should be motivation enough for this group of players to be able to go there. On Danny Rohl, again, it's the old cliche that he talks well, but he just sounds like a man that gets it. He talks about the fact that it's, we've had 2 or 3 good games and good results now in a row, but actually we need to be extending that to 10 and 11. We need to go on a better run and not have a setback like we did at Tynecastle. It was good to see him giving Chermiti a bit of praise because, again, I think from his point of view and his confidence, it's can only be a good thing. And I think if you have to look at it, there's only one man you probably want to lead the line getting into that game at the weekend. It's not Danilo, it's not Miovski. It is probably big Chermiti, because he will, based on what we've seen, he'll probably pester the life out of the Celtic defence. So you want him to go there and create a wee bit of mayhem. And I think it's good that Danny recognises that from the 75th minute it probably wasn't good enough. And he's at least honest enough to kind of take that on board, and that's why I kind of say that the main focus now for Saturday isn't going to be how Danny sets the team up. It's not going to be about what he can do to the players. It's about the players that are stepping onto the pitch, having the balls to go there and take the game to them. Because ultimately, we've seen what can happen if you stick to your principles, a la Motherwell last night. They came to Ibrox. They played some great football against us. We got a really, really good result against them. There's no reason why we cannot have a go. So it's going to be really, really interesting. But I find it very hard to criticise Danny Rohl at the moment. He talks a good game. The results have massively improved. I think with a bit more quality, it's going to be really interesting to see how the team improves and how the performances improve, because that's the next thing that we all want to see in the evolution of this team, is the improved performances. And to be fair, we've created a lot of chances in the last 2 games. Motherwell, I think it was 28 shots on goal. Last night against St Mirren, it was 18. Better quality, you're going to be finishing off some of those chances a little bit better, and it's going to make it a little bit easier for us to breathe when we're 2 or 3 up, instead of hanging on to maybe a 1-0 or a 2-1 in the last 10 minutes.
Let's return to last night in a minute. Breaking news: Rangers have appointed David French as their new Chief Commercial Officer following his departure from the Aviva Stadium. Breaking news from my good friend Chris Jack. who has sent over that, knowing that we were live for us to. He's already put it out in the Rangers review. So breaking news: Rangers appointed David French as their new chief commercial officer following his departure from the Aviva Stadium. French announced his intention to step down from the role of chief executive of the Dublin venue earlier this year. He will now head up the commercial operation at Ibrox, and is set to get down to business in the coming days. Review understands Chairman Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marathi, the Vice Chairman, have finalised the recruitment process in recent weeks as they continue to take a hands-on role to reshaping the behind-the-scenes team. French will fill the position that has been vacant since the end of last term and Sean Jefferson's departure after an interim stint. French was appointed CEO at Aviva Stadium in November 2023 following a stint at Transport for Greater Manchester. And he previously worked as general manager of Mercedes-Benz Arena in Shanghai. He spent 4 years as director of venue at Old Trafford and worked at Nokia. So, excuse me. Yeah, that's kind of it. He's not got any football experience that I'm aware of, like actual teams, but he's been around stadiums and commercially he would have done all that. Probably the same role in different things. An experienced appointment, Andrew. I'm not going to pretend I know anything about him. It could be Don French for all I'm aware, unfortunately, David. But welcome to him. I'm delighted actually that he's here. It's another little cog in the wheel. It has to be the right move, of course. But welcome to Rangers, David, and let's hope he does a good job.
That's all we can do, right? We've had too many instances in the past where we've talked up prospective employees before they've even got their feet in the door. So, I'm excited that we're making moves, that we're getting appointments done. The fact that Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marathi have been personally involved in it does speak well. Which we'll see. Guy's got good lineage, but Rangers is its own beast. We shall see how things go, but we wish him all the best, I'm sure.
I just love one of the comments in the chat there, Stevie, about this. The first course of action should be the newly redeveloped Candide Concourse at Ibrox. There you go, big man. Amrit, what about that, pal? That sounds good, doesn't it?
No, he's got enough. He's got enough, Rob. Rob, I will stick with you with David French. Commercially, Rangers have done really well. James Bisgrove built it from being very little, but at the point there was very little there. So the only way was up. I remember conversations with James on this platform, interviews with James. He said we would go 10 million and then we would double and go higher with 30, and then his ambition was 40, and he'd done everything he said he was going to do. The problem is with getting here is how do we get up to the next level? Now, the next level commercially for Rangers is Ibrox footprint and everything else taking its next step. But it's also, and this is a must for me, it's key named sponsors. It's Red Bulls. It's everything. So, genuinely, it's the next step. And Rangers now have the American backing. It's now fanciful again, possibly. Can we get those big names? Can that be the next commercial step up? Amrit, you can jump in as well, mate, after Rob.
I think the key thing with that, Stevie, is if you're wanting to attract those kind of brands, you need to have a winning football team. And that's the thing that drives those commercial relationships. I think somebody in the comment had mentioned that they live over Dublin way, and the Aviva Stadium makes an absolute fortune. So for us, it's about how much can we get out of the match going attendance every single game at Ibrox, and that is investing in the facilities around the club. It's looking at what else we can have to capture the attention of families and stuff that are going to the game, because again, a lot of people travel a long, long way. They're going into the wider community and spending their cash. Why not try and put your arms around that and capture that and take more of it into the club? I think the other thing is key is making sure that we don't lose sight of ourselves as a club when we're chasing that money as well, because while Bisgrove did do a good job, I think sometimes it was for the benefit of targets rather than it being about actually the benefit of Rangers. And I think some of those deals, we kind of lost the spirit of what Rangers is about. Hold
on, are you trying to say that Sporty Mongo on the back of the shirt wasn't the best thing for the club? No?
No.
I mean, you know about commercial stuff, mate. You jump in as well, buddy.
Yeah, I think for us, really, we want to obviously maximise revenue. That's what we're there to do. We're a business, but we need to make sure that we're establishing the right relationships and partnerships, like Rob said, with the right brands, brands that align with the values and the virtues upon which our great institution was founded. We need to make sure that they marry up and they're mutually beneficial, not only for the investor, but also for us as well. But I think the potential is huge for any brand coming to work with Rangers. You've got to remember, Rangers don't just have a presence here in Scotland. We're a worldwide institution with a lot of pull, a lot of loyal fans all over the world, a real hub of activity and support for many, many years. We've so much history and success through the ages. And like Rob said, we need to get it right on the park because everybody wants to be associated with winning teams. And I think if we can start to do that, then we won't need to go looking for investors. They'll be knocking on our door. And I think that's the kind of shift that you want to try and cultivate. You want people to come to us, so we're attracting investment rather than going out with our begging bowl in our hand and trying to convince people to invest in this institution.
It's the thing that this all feeds into itself, right? Rob said that the best thing we can do commercially is put a winning team on the pitch. A successful commercial department feeds into that, and then a successful football team feeds back into that. The more successful we are as a football team, the better the commercial deals we can get. So all this feeds into each other. You get a very winning team on the pitch, have Champions League football next season. So all of that helps build in the commercial revenue. Not that we're getting too far ahead of ourselves or anything like that, but all of this helps build up where we are commercially, and that can only be a good thing for Rangers.
Yeah, sorry, I lost track of that because I asked Chris Jack. Chris sent the original stuff about David French, and I said thank you. And then I said you were my very good friend. Now tell us all what's happening with Penrith, and he's typing. So that's going to be interesting. We'll wait and see what he's saying. And then we can also just credit and blame him if it's wrong too. What's next on the agenda, folks? I do want to go back to last night. I want to discuss some individuals. Jack Butland again, I thought was exceptional. I thought Nico had a good game. Manny Fernandez is becoming very steady at centre half. Nothing over exciting, but he's becoming steady. He's still a bit loose on the ball at times. He's still a bit overplaying, perhaps. I think he's getting better, and he's our player, so I want him to keep playing. So I quite like him, and plus he's a threat. He's going to score on Saturday. If we can't find him in the middle of their defence, their defenders look at the clouds more than ours do. So we really need to get Manny Fernandez on the end of a cross. Yusuf Chamiti was a big one. Here's the thing. I agree with what everybody said about Yusuf Chamiti, holding the ball up, bringing players into play. The problem is he's 30 yards from goal. And that's my biggest issue. He's 30 yards from the box when he's doing all his best work. I need you to be 20 yards up the pitch and further to that box so that you can get the runs, because he's still not running. He's not making those runs that a striker should. Now, I can see it in him, and he's getting better, and you can see he's getting confidence. I loved the reception last night. I really did. So they were the big ones that I wanted to really highlight. Boys, just all jump in. You've given your opinion, I think, on all of them as such, but this is a sliding doors moment for Rangers. We're here again for Saturday, right? It's a sliding doors moment. Just like Tynecastle, we never done it at Tynecastle. We have to go and do it. These players need to stand up and really take... This is a step now. Danny Rohl's put the base in. The players have put the base in through some really hard work. Now, Rob, Amrit, Andrew, we need to go and win this game. So that means these guys that we have praised and we have talked about. Tello Asgard's chucked in a couple of goals, by the way. I wouldn't start him on Saturday. Sorry, folks. I would not start him despite the fact that he's got 2 goals. I wouldn't. I don't think he brings enough, but hey-ho, just my opinion. But these guys have started to show a wee bit. If you want to properly succeed at Rangers, you go win on Saturday. And yes, it's Parkhead, and yes, it's tough. You need to go win on Saturday.
I think the key is our midfield, as it inevitably always is with these games. The promising thing for me was the performance of Nico Raskin in the game last night, because we've all said he's been off the boil. He's not been performing as well as he could have been. The fact that he looked closer to what we know that he can do for us last night was extremely promising for me, because for me, he's one of the players who I think has the skills to drag us to that next level. He's one of the players I think can impose how we want to play onto the opposition team. And he does that by sticking to his natural game, which is not necessarily trying to get forward and score goals, but it's about being a destroyer in the midfield, dominating, breaking up play, and starting off moves, starting to make things happen. He did that very effectively last night. We know it's only St Mirren versus Celtic, but St Mirren are the team that just beat them in the cup final. So I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss our players' ability against them versus against the other side of the old firm. So he's the big one for me. We will, I'm sure, speak about some of the other players. We know we're going to need to be strong defensively. We know we're going to need to score goals. But for me, the midfield is where Old Firms are won and lost. And if we can get Raskin, who plays alongside him, I don't know. I think Connor Barron should be in there for his industry. But who the third one is, whether it's Asgard, whether it's Diamande, who is unfortunately a player who's stayed off the boil and has not been particularly impressive in recent weeks, I don't know. But certainly Raskin and Barron would be the first two on my team sheet in terms of the midfield to ensure that we can impose ourselves in that game.
Yeah, I think the midfield is you've got to have Barron and Raskin in there without a doubt. Those two have definitely got to be in there. For me, I don't think Diomande's done enough the last few games to be rewarded with a selection. Again, I thought last night, the game against Motherwell, he was pretty poor. He was disappointing, and he's a player that I'm really disappointed in this season because I thought this would be the one where he could kick on and playing under a different manager, a different system would really help him. I'd almost be tempted to stick Mikey Moore in the middle as the attacking midfielder with Barron and Raskin sitting behind him. But the problem that you've got with is who do you then replace him out wide with? Because you're going to lose some of that attacking sense in there. Whoever it is that's going to get picked, it isn't about the fancy flicks, the attacking sense. It's more about who's going to graft and win the battles first, because that will then give us the platform to allow us to go and play the nice football. And unfortunately, while Asgard has scored a couple of goals, I still don't really trust him. I think I mentioned in our group chat, he's not the type of guy that I would want to be sitting in the trenches alongside me, because he just still gives off that air of laziness in his approach to play. But the promising thing was Danny Rohl's obviously spoken about it in the presser, where he's spoken to Asgard and they've moved him to the right-hand side so that he's not taking as long on the ball. He's trying to move it a little bit quicker. Defensively, Sterling has got to come back into that team, and I'd be tempted to stick him at right back ahead of Tav, because again it'll give us a bit more physicality, it gives us a little bit more pace, and you've got Suter and Fernandez. But again, it depends on whether we're going to go the 4 at the back, whatever it's going to look like. Whoever gets picked, it's all about effort and desire and hunger. It's not going to be about if they can take 5 or 10 men on at a time. It is just going to be about, can you smash that guy that you're playing against a little bit harder than he can, and can you win every 50-50 that you're going to go into, because that will give you the platform to play. It would be good to see a couple of the injured folk coming back, but you could pick straws at the moment to see who's going to be there. Sorry, Amrit, I'll let you have a turn now, mate.
No, okay. Take your time. No problem at all, mate. No problem at all. Just to jump on that, the guys have made some really, really good points there, Stevie, but Manny Fernandez, for me, played brilliantly yesterday. He's a big, strong laddie. I think he has all the attributes, all the building blocks to really be an important player for us. He's big and he's strong. I mean, when he walked in the press room yesterday, he had to duck to get under the door. You wouldn't want to dig off him, Stevie, would you? He's a big, big boy. And I thought he spoke very well as well in the press conference. Very mature, very measured in what he said, very confident. He was asked if he backs himself in that box when the balls come in, and he says, I back myself every single time. That's what you want to hear from a Rangers player. I genuinely think he's a monster up against Scales and Trusty and Ralston. He will ragdoll them all day long, and he's got that confidence, and I love that about Manny Fernandez, so good on him. But listen, Stevie, moving into Saturday, This isn't football on Saturday. This is war. That's exactly what it is. And these players need to know that. And they need to throw themselves into every tackle, every challenge, every throw in, every dead ball, every corner, every pass, every press. Everything needs to be on the line 100%. Anything less than 100% is not sufficient if we want to be successful. They've got to cover every blade of grass. They've got to cover every inch on the pitch. They've got to leave everything they have on the pitch. They've got to run till their lungs burst. They've got to fall over in exhaustion. They've got to fight for each other, fight for the club, fight for the fans, and give it everything they've got. And they've got to put everything they have into everything that they do, Stevie. Nothing less than that will be sufficient. There's a price to pay here for success, Stevie, for greatness. If these guys want to go and capture it and take it, and that price is effort, it's blood, it's sweat, it's tears, it's doing everything that they possibly can to win for this club and win for the fans, because they deserve it. And I truly believe, Stevie, I truly believe that if they do that, if they put everything they have into everything they do, then we cannot lose on Saturday. That's my belief. So let's go, Rangers, into these.
Can you honestly imagine going into Amrit's shop and asking him what's the best ice cream to get? Can you imagine, like, you'd be like, raspberry ripple, it is the most sensational, and then we have bubble gum over here. It would be, honestly, you wouldn't get away from it. Like, the man is just,
The ice cream would be melted by the time he's finished, Stevie.
honestly, he's worse than me when he gets going, man. Honest to goodness. I had to tug him a few times and tell him to sit down last night. Big man, you're in the gantry, you can't sing that song up here. So it was good fun. It was very good fun. But I'm, as usual, uplifting. Yeah, and he's right. I would have just said it a bit shorter and just said you need to kick fuck into the guy you're marking and win the ball. But he could have took the long way round. So guys, before we go, we are linked with James Penrice. We're also linked with Chris Jack had his link with the boy Romans as well at left back as well. It's clear we are moving for a left back. Not too much on Penrice. Nobody seems to be ruling out anything before Parkhead, though, which is interesting. James Penrice, I would take Scottish, knows the league, left-sided. Yep, from me. Would be great cover as well, because Mighoma doing okay-ish. He looks weird sometimes. Mighoma looks good, and then other times he looks weird, but he has progress for me. I would have said a couple of months ago he shouldn't have been in the team, and I felt that, and he did come out of the team, and Aaron's played a couple of games and thought did okay. Penrice for me is a yes. Andrew, Rob, Amrit, where are you with Penrice?
I know that he's someone who's experienced with the league, so obviously it makes sense. It's always been the left back position. Has always been that area that just terrifies me, that we have no cover there. I'm with you, Stevie. I think Mighoma looked okay in spells. He's not been a world beater, but I don't think he's been abysmal either, somewhere in the middle. But it's the lack of cover there that honestly concerns me more than anything else. It's the fact that we just do not have any backups there, because we've seen Aaron's play there, but I wouldn't be rushing back to have him back in there at the moment. The truth is, there's no position within that squad that couldn't use an upgrade somewhere. So any position where we get new blood in, it is a positive for me at this moment.
Yeah, I think it's a must that we've got to get another left back in. And as Andrew said, Penrice fits the bill. Scottish, knows the league, will graft. And if you're only going to make 4 signings, it's got to be left back, centre half, centre mid, and striker, because it's the spine that needs to work in this team. And going back to what you said about Manny Fernandez, with a competent centre half next to him, he can learn and improve against that. And I think we've seen him be a little bit more confident as he started to go. And we were talking about this last night again. You look at Man U, they had a great mix. They had Vidic that would go and win the football, and he was the one that 90% of the headers, they were his. Ferdinand played with the ball at his feet. Now, Manny Fernandez needs to just focus on the one in the header bit, and if we can get somebody else that is really good at playing with the ball at his feet, then you give the ball to him and you let him start the moves off. I think that's the only criticism that we've probably got of Manny Fernandez just now, is that on occasion looks as if he can use the ball really, really well. Sometimes it's just how long he actually takes on it and the pressure that he invites and the heart attacks that he gives us when there's a man closing them down and you're like, just pass the bloody ball, please, son. Don't drag them in that way. But Penrice would be a good start. I think it's a must. Is he going to be the game changer for the weekend's game? Probably not. I think maybe we would have wanted a centre half or a centre mid to come in before that. But you know, we can't get everything that we want before that game.
Stevie, you're muted, mate.
It's all right. I was just talking to you to ask you what you thought of James Penrice. I'm allowed to be muted, mate. I'm the boss here. You just got on with it.
Oof, okay. Why have a dug and barked yourself? Is that what they say?
Well, listen, you slagged me off on this show, so this is your last one anyway, so get on with it.
Actually, in the interest of full transparency, Stevie, and members, Stevie, you did not tug me last night. You popped my cherry, but you definitely did not tug me, okay? So I think it's only fair that our members know the truth here. We don't want any rumours starting. But yes, Penrice, Stevie, I'm with you. I think he'll be a great addition. The guys agree, which is wonderful. He had a great season at Hearts last season. I'm sure he was in the Players' Team of the Year for the SPL last year or something like that. So he's a few awards. He did well for them. He ticks all the right boxes for me. He's of a good age now as well. He's experienced. He knows the Rangers. He knows our league. I think that's the type of heart and the type of spirit that you want to be bringing into that position. But I'm with Rob. I agree that we need a left back. I would say that a centre half, centre mid and a striker are probably more of a priority at the moment. But listen, let's get them in. And if we don't get them in necessarily in the order we would like them, but let's just get them in the door and get the business done. So that's what I'd like to see.
Folks, we're almost an hour. It is Hogmanay. Let's get you all away to celebrate with your families. Amrit, thank you, mate, for everything you have done for the podcast, for your enthusiasm, your support. Unlike previous scouting teams at Ibrox, I can spot a podder, and I'm delighted to have you on board, mate. If only our summer dealings was as good as when I spotted you and all the others, Mark, and Poach Rob and all sorts. So thank you, mate. Much appreciated. I'm glad you enjoyed last night, and yeah, there was definitely no tugging.
No, it's a pleasure, Stevie. Thank you so much for your kind words. It's been a really, really enjoyable couple of months with Four Lads, and I'm looking forward to what 2026 has in store. And just like to wish all our members and supporters of the channel all the very best for a happy, prosperous, peaceful, abundant new year. And we'll see you all in 2026.
Rob, thanks as ever, mate. A newbie here as such, but a great addition to the podcast. Thank you, mate, for coming on Hogmanay. Wish you all the very best as well.
Appreciate it, Stevie. You almost had me tearing up. I think that's the first time you've ever said something nice to me, mate. So I appreciate it. I'd echo Amrit's comments to everybody that's listening, watching. I hope you all have a brilliant 2026, and it is full of health and happiness for you and yours.
And to my very favourite editor and original OG right from the very start, Andrew, mate, thank you for coming on. Much appreciated.
Always a pleasure, Stevie. Never a chore. And despite what Rangers have tried to do to us at some points this season, it's always a very good time to be on podding with you. I said as much last night, but I cannot thank our audience enough for everything they've done. The support they've shown this year has been incredible. Far, far beyond what we even hoped that we could get this year. As we said, start this year, hoping we'd maybe get to 5,000 subscribers, and we're at over 12,000. Nearly 700 members as well. Ridiculous, but very, very grateful for all the support that folk have shown. And the fact that we go from strength to strength, adding new and better podders as well. Mark from last night, Rob and Amrit as well. Amrit's just got so much enthusiasm. It's fucking great. He's balancing out the miserable that we have. So I love that. That's fantastic. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. And to everyone who's watching, to everyone on the pod as well, all the very best when it comes. And hope your 2026 treats you nicely.
Yeah, I'll echo that, folks. Couldn't do Four Lads in a Dream without you. There's currently 2,300 people sitting and watching a live podcast across all platforms on Hogmanay. at 5 o'clock, and it's absolutely exceptional. If you haven't, please like and subscribe on YouTube. It really helps us. If you want to become a member to access new shows and member-only shows, such as exclusive Rangers Year interviews, the latest with David Robertson and Chris Burke, you can become a member by signing up from the thing to scan in the top corner, which is up there. Oh, I done it. It's up there. Wow. There you go. On a personal note, thank you to everybody that's made Four Lads of the Dream what it is. As Andrew said, we thought at the start of the year, 3,000 subs, could we get to 5? We made it to 12, and it continues to grow. Your personal support from myself in what hasn't been an easy time has been incredible, and I want to thank you all for that. Four Lads will continue regardless of what anyone says and what anyone tries to throw our way. We're all really excited, and people will get their opportunity. This year we gave opportunities to Mark and Amrit, who were fresh out, wanted to be podders, wanted to join Four Lads, and they were members. If you want to join Four Lads, we will always give opportunities out. We stole Rob from another podcast, and I don't care about that. No shame there, but he is a fantastic addition. And the Sunday show returning as well as our absolute stalwarts. Kenny, couldn't do it without him. The founder of the pod, my right-hand man. And then we've got newbies, as I said, like Chris Bett as well, who is very strong podder and will speak his mind and will polarise, but is a great addition as well. We'll continue to do that. There'll be more opportunities in 2026 for new people and for new voices, for new shows. And to you, everybody watching and listening, thank you so much. I wish you a very healthy and loving 2026. Have a great time with your friends and family over the new year. And we wish you all the very best for the bells and things like that. Comment here, guys. I'd love to write for Four Lads. Who do I talk to? Me, Nathan. Email me at fourladshadadream@gmail.com. 4 is spelt 4, not the number. Also, for those of you who want one of these tammies that are absolutely beautiful, email us on the same, fourladshadadream@gmail.com, and we will sort you out. Finally, thanks to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Jim, Mando, and all the team there for all your support during the year. Ian and the team at Clydeview Fire Protection and Joinery, as well as Carlo at CSD Air Conditioning. I'm a very good friend, Ian Martin, AFO Industrial Solution. All of you have been absolutely superb. To our new sponsor, Amrit at Candid. I can confirm sweets and ice cream, top class. Great addition. Thank you so much, Amrit, for your support. And Local Darts Shop Online, who's John, who sponsors our Sunday show as well. All the help you guys give us has helped us be what we can be, but couldn't do it without you, the audience. Thank you so much. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, have a brilliant Bells. Enjoy the new year, and here's to a successful 2026 for our beloved Glasgow Rangers. We'll probably be back, by the way, on Friday night. We'll probably do an Old Firm pre. It might even just be myself for half an hour. So probably 7 o'clock on the 2nd. That's Friday, isn't it? Friday night, yeah. So usual Friday night show, might half an hour or so. So it'll depend on who's coming on. But maybe you'll join it. Well, there you go. It'll be me and Andrew then on Friday night. And so if you're about and you want to do that, come join us then. As for now, go and join New Year, folk. Good luck to our football club in 2026, but more importantly, to your health and happiness. Take care. Bye.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, AFO Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.